The pay-per-view era is officially over. In a full circle moment, the UFC is heading back home. In 2026, the Octagon returns to the Paramount family after over a decade of being away. But this time it's not with Spike TV, it's with Paramount Plus, CBS, and a deal worth a jaw-dropping $7.7 billion. So what is actually changing, and how does this compare to the ESPN era? Let's break it down. All right, so jumping into the new Paramount deal, the length of the deal is 7 years. So we're going to run from 2026 all the way until 2033. As mentioned, the overall ticket price of this deal is $7.7 billion, which equals $1.1 billion annually. The distribution model of this deal includes 13 numbered UFC events and 30 fight nights annually. Now, there's also a note that in addition to being able to access all those events on Paramount Plus, you're going to be able to tune into a select number of events on CBS as well. So think linear TV. I anticipate that the standard for what is being shown and broadcasted on CBS is going to be the fight nights. I don't anticipate that we're going to get a lot of numbered cards on CBS. The only caveat I will mention there is, for the upcoming White House event next year, you can bet that that's going to be both on Paramount Plus and CBS for the purpose of getting the absolute broadest reach possible. Think about how many new fans they can reach by being able to distribute such a big historic event that way, that will then draw in new subscribers to Paramount Plus. Talking about Paramount Plus and the subscription, the current Paramount Plus subscription price is $7.99 for the standard price, and it's $12.99 for the premium price. That is going to save a lot of fans a whole lot of money who were accustomed to buying every single pay-per-view or a handful of pay-per-views every year, so that they can avoid streaming glitches if you were trying to illegally stream it, or the burden of having to go to a sports bar, to go watch these events as well. Now you're going to be able to watch this from the comfort of your home for that subscription price. And with the UFC being able to release some of the events coming up beforehand, there's always going to be churn, which is a term in the industry for dropping the subscription and coming back whenever it's best for the customer. So if the next 3 months, there's going to be fights that don't really justify having a subscription for that time period, then you can cancel or pause it and then return back whenever you're ready to jump into that next big card that draws your attention. Next, I want to take a look at a side-by-side comparison of the new Paramount deal versus the old ESPN era deal that we saw. This is where things get really interesting, because if you look at the annual value here, you'll see that the UFC's annual value now per this new deal is $1.1 billion. Comparing this to the ESPN deal that went from 2019 to 2025, we had reported that deal was about $300 million a year, which was $1.5 billion for the first term, which was supposed to be the first 5-year term. For those that don't know, they extended that to be 7 in total. But if we take that $300 million as our base, then you see that they're now at $1.1 billion. That's quite impressive to see the UFC's growth be almost a 4x in that short amount of time. The event distribution, as mentioned, Paramount Plus, CBS versus ESPN Plus and ESPN/ESPN2. Pay-per-view access. This is probably the biggest deal from this agreement, that now all the numbered cards and the fight night cards are going to be included with the Paramount Plus subscription. In the past with ESPN, you would actually still have to pay a separate $60 to $80 per numbered card that you wanted to watch, because not everything was included in that ESPN Plus subscription. Free TV presence. CBS simulcast on select events. Again, I anticipate this to be fight cards. Great if we get a handful of numbered cards on there as well, but this is compared to the minimal amount that we would receive via the Disney ESPN deal, where we would get a few ABC shows for some fight night cards. I can think of probably 1 per year happening. That's just a wild guess, basically. Trying to dig into the back of my memory, but I remember Max Holloway being part of those. I remember Josh Emmett being part of some of those ABC related free cards. What happens to the fight library? I anticipate that this will be on Paramount Plus, full archive expected. That being the case, unless there's some sort of deal that was struck with ESPN where they own rights for an extended period of time, I would imagine that either immediately in 2026 or over time, we're going to see all the deep archive of UFC fights end up on Paramount Plus. You also had this on ESPN Plus and UFC Fight Pass. Original shows. Now, it's possible that Paramount Plus is going to create their own originals, CBS specials, things of that nature, right? ESPN Plus currently has Tough, Contender Series. If those don't, in the same name and brand, go over to Paramount Plus, you can bet that there's going to be a spinoff of something like that that's going to come on to Paramount Plus. So not too concerned about this, because I know that Dana's going to find his way to be able to bring the same over to Paramount Plus. And then, of course, the accessibility, as we mentioned before, you needed the ESPN Plus subscription. For numbered cards, you would still need to pay whatever incremental dollars that numbered card would cost you. Now, you're going to be able to get all that under the Paramount Plus subscription umbrella, and you're going to be able to watch some of those for free on CBS for the broader masses of trying to bring in new eyeballs and new fans into the sport. So what does this mean for the UFC fans? Put simple, you're gonna save a ton of money from not having to buy these pay-per-view fights anymore. That being said, that might also be the one thing that matters most and why it might be problematic to UFC fighters. However, I'm not going to be one of those content creators that over speculates and starts trashing the UFC. What I want to share here is for fighters such as a Conor or an Ilia Topuria or an Alex Pereira who are able to garner a big buzz and bring in so much attention to their pay-per-view fights, and therefore they fatten their paycheck because of the pay-per-view points. I do wonder what the new model will look like for those athletes, right? Because those athletes were benefiting the most from pay-per-view points. Now that pay-per-view is dead, and now that that's no longer in the equation, I am very curious, and we probably will never get an answer to see what these terms look like unless the athletes themselves start to speak out loud about it after the fact. I am very curious what those agreements look like now and how they're going to create a model that still pays an athlete what they anticipate they would have earned under the pay-per-view model versus this new deal, this new subscription deal that's all in one under that one umbrella, right? Now, for athletes that weren't great on the mic, that don't have the charisma to bring in as many eyeballs into the pay-per-view model type of, card, then I think for them, that's a big bonus, right? If, again, assuming that this is going to account for pay-per-view points into champions' paychecks, then I think this could be a bonus for them. But again, this is just me speculating on whether it was a very good deal for the fighters or not. We're not going to be able to see what these terms look like, again, unless the UFC fighters themselves start to speak on it once we see a few fights go, under the Paramount Plus umbrella and they start to receive paychecks to be able to really break down what it means and whether it was more fruitful for them or less fruitful for them coming away from the ESPN era into the Paramount Plus era. All right, y'all, well, that's going to do it for this video. Drop your thoughts below. I'm very curious to hear how the UFC community is receiving these news, what you guys think about it. Me personally, I'm excited to be able to have a platform where I'm able to take all my numbered UFC cards and watch them there versus having to cough up $60 to $80 per card. But I am wary of the initial road bumps that we can see up front. But again, overall, big fan of the deal. And I like the direction that the UFC is going and being able to continue to push and elevate to that next level. I'm excited to see what 2033 and 2034's deal is going to look like and whether they remain with a Paramount Plus or they decide to jump ship and go to a Netflix, for example. All right, guys. Well, until next time, my name is Alex, aka Doer. I will catch you on the next one. Peace.
Hello, everybody. My name's London, aka Little Doer, and make sure to smash that like button and give us a huge thumbs up. Keep going to our other channels, and we'll film the next one with me. And we love you.